I think one of the pieces that is so interesting to me personally is not only did you scale what was a family business into this large national chain, but you also were consistently tapped for your experience and knowledge. So you sat on the boards of Domino's and Sonic and kind of these other types of businesses. And as you think back, how much of what you were learning as an operator at Dunkin' Donuts gave you the ability to kind of be a good board member, be a good sounding board and governor of those other businesses, right? Were there a lot of kind of common lessons and common challenges and obstacles that each of these businesses were going through? Or did you find that even though they were kind of in the food services space, these other businesses actually had different challenges and different things that they dealt with than what you were dealing with as the operator seat at Dunkin'?
Well, 35 years is a long run, and it gave me an opportunity to make a lot of mistakes. And those setbacks and successes, I think, were helpful as I served on other boards. And basically, I was a believer that stuck to my knitting, to things I knew. So I only served on boards that were either chain operators, small box retailers, I call them. They either utilize franchise as a method of distribution, and it could have been in the automotive industry, or it could have been in the food service industry. And I did find that on a board that there is an advantage to having an operator alongside other types, people who understand governance, people who understand maybe international marketing, what other issues that business may be facing, I think comprise an effective board. But having a practitioner, someone who's been there, done that's been helpful. And the answer to your question is yes. I found my experiences were extraordinarily helpful. For example, I was on one board where we owned Cotman, a muffler repair, not muffler repair, but the transmission repair business. And we bought Amco. Well, I had experience in buying my competitor, Mr. Donut, and rebadging them to Dunkin'. So that kind of experience could have been very, very useful to us as Cotman as we bought Amco and merged the two brands together and began to rebadge the stores under one brand. So there were lots and lots of experiences that I think I brought from one business even to the automotive aftermarket repair business that were useful.
Absolutely. And so obviously a lot of what you've kind of learned and I think built your career on was finding the best people, right? And kind of just whether it was other board members, executives, franchisees, just people. When you thought about people, how much of this was trying to find kind of talent that was impressive, but did not yet have kind of years and years of experience doing something, and so they could kind of grow into the role, versus you wanted to go find people who had already done the job, let's say at another company or on a bigger scale? Like, were you hiring for experience, or were you more focused on hiring for kind of potential and competence?
There were three things that I utilized, really the company utilized. The first was a real crisp understanding of the assignment we wanted someone to fill. And the better you define the assignment, the more likely you are to find a candidate to come fulfill that assignment. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about what is it exactly, where are we, what do we need filled in that job? So it's a definition of a job. The second philosophy or principle that we sort of followed was that we weren't looking for someone who was effective or knowledgeable in all things. We we were a team culture. We relied on the complementarity of the skills in the team. And it was no big, including myself, no big admission not to be good at everything. Certain things we were thrown to be better at and not so good at others. And the whole notion was to have in the team the complementarity of skills that would support and lift each other up. So long as you had mutual respect, no backbiting, which was not allowed in our culture. We basically wouldn't put up with that. And the third thing was fit, and you had to fit the culture. And the culture in our case was, a teamwork, aspirations. We liked to win. Winning was a part of us. I just in our DNA. So whenever we sort of achieved one objective, we set more lofty objectives to spur us forward. We kept changing all the time and kept growing. So I would say those were the three sort of principles that we utilized. In some cases, it didn't require a lot of prior knowledge and back to just the fit and the complementarity of the personalities might have been enough, depending on the assignment.
Yeah, it's really interesting how you obviously did this for so long. You know exactly what you were looking for, and I think that that's a key piece to this. Is if you just go out and say, "Hey, we want to hire somebody," you obviously can make all kinds of mistakes. But when you say we specifically want to hire somebody based on these three criteria, that focus seems to drastically increase the probability that you do it the right way, right?
Agree. Absolutely agree.